Meghan Markle has just given a bizarre new interview in Australia, trying to justify that trip and also receive international acclaim for her new moves in the fashion arena. But for me, this was totally bizarre. Australian Women's Weekly is where she's given the interview. Now, look, I know a lot about the Australian media, okay? And this is a nice magazine. But seriously, Meghan, you've gone to the Australian Women's Weekly. That's now where you're at. You know, it's usually the type of place for sort of like Australian newsreaders and soap stars to open up about their latest wedding. Do you know what I mean, Jobbo? Robert Jobson, who is with me. That is the type of place, not for royalty.
No, it is. I mean, I know a bit about the Australian media, having worked for Sunrise now for 15 years.
You're their royal.
So yeah, that's the sort of place you'd see, you know, a piece about Nat or Koshi or whoever. You know, it's not the place for her. But of course, she's trying to. I think the whole Australia visit was a bit of a poke at the king. I mean, you remember the king is just king of Australia, and William is the you know, heir to the throne of Australia. So the whole thing, I think, was I mean, call me Meg. Well, you know, sorry, Meghan Markle, Duchess, whatever. Meg is a very Aussie way of saying something. Same as Hazza and Meg. Hazza and Meg. You know, it's all a load of old baloney. I thought that trip. And
also, by the way, Joe, it's all well and good to say that, but anytime she moves into a room, she gets the staff to announce the Duchess of Sussex is here. So it's baloney. Yeah. But look, I want to take you through the interview, Jobbo.
It's a great word, baloney, isn't it?
It is. I'd like to tell it to rack off, to use it up. I need you to do something for me right now. It is free. It is easy. It is simple. Just hit that subscribe button on YouTube. That's because over 50% of you watching this video haven't done that yet. And it is the best way. No big tech backing, no billionaires pulling the strings. And if you turn on the bell, you'll get alerted to all our new videos. The Australian phrase. But look, here's the interview conducted by the editor of the Australian Women's Weekly. And they write, and to me, Jobbo, this looks like a PR job, okay? It looks like this has been copy approved and the full works, but I'll take you through the whole thing, okay? Yeah. So they write, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, has long been a lover of fashion and a modern style icon. Really? Who's saying that? It was a reputation she earned even before her royal nuptials to Prince Harry. She has used her platform to showcase designers she loves and campaigns she supports. However, following her marriage to Harry, Meghan's influence in the fashion realm was palpable. It became known as the Meghan effect. The pieces she wore often sold out soon after. That continued even after she and Harry left their working royal status to raise their family in the United States. The Duchess doesn't have a stylist. Oh, I'm not big on fashion, but I've noticed that, to be honest. She styles herself, so everything she chooses to wear has a purpose. With Australian Fashion Week on the horizon, we reached out to the Duchess to speak about her recent tour. Here the interview begins. My husband and I have such an affinity to Australia, the Duchess told the Weekly exclusively. I said to him the day we were flying out, the only thing better than Australian are Australians. As mentioned, the Duchess styled herself. She reiterates that it was important for her to wear Australian designers on her recent trip. I love being able to wear local designers and celebrate the craftsmanship that's happening in whatever region I'm traveling to. In 2018, during my trip to Australia, I really focused on smaller labels, female-owned brands, up-and-coming designers, and brands with purpose. I have so much fun personally selecting pieces, and I was really happy to be able to do it again for this trip. It was amazing to see how many new brands are putting out such fantastic pieces, and also to revisit brands like Karen Gee, whose dresses I wore when we announced we were pregnant with Archie all those years ago. She speaks about another label called St. Agni, and she says that she likes that brand because it is similar to what my friend Kelly J. Zajfen does with her organization. Their silhouettes are incredibly chic, she said. And then she talks about the suede bomber jacket and pencil skirt paired with the P. Johnson turtleneck, and it's a look that she loved. The Weekly goes on. Meghan doesn't just use her platform to support charitable causes, she also likes to have fun with her looks. And this is Meghan. The more 1960s-inspired feeling of the Friends with Frank shift dress that I paired with sheer black tights and vintage earrings I found at the Real felt fun and playful. However, there was one ensemble that she described as nostalgic and likely excited longtime fans of her acting work. That look that felt modern but also nostalgic. I need you to do something for me right now. It is free, it is easy, it is simple. Just hit that subscribe button on YouTube. That's because over 50% of you watching this video haven't done that yet. And it is the best way. No big tech backing, no billionaires pulling the strings. And if you turn on the bell, you'll get alerted to all our new videos. For me was what I wore for MasterChef Australia, because a button-down shirt and sleek pencil skirt felt very Rachel Zane from my skirt days. I was back on set, so I felt sentimental about it. And of course, I thought wearing black was a safe choice in case there was any spills. As a longtime lover of fashion, The Weekly goes on, the Duchess knows how impactful it can be. Fashion is one of the most powerful industries, the Duchess said. It influences how we feel and what we project. And even if you don't say a word, you can convey something in what you wear. Over the last several years, I would hear about an incorrect designer getting credit for something I wore, either via affiliate links or press, and that never seemed fair. Credit where credit's due. These brands and designers work so hard and take great pride in their work, and I choose them for a reason. Either supporting a friend, being brand loyal, or the reasons I mentioned earlier. So it always felt important to me that the correct designer is credited. Do you see where we're getting to? Do you see where we're getting to? She's trying to justify selling her outfits, okay? To that end, Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, has partnered with One Off to ensure the correct designers are credited. So it's nothing to do with her making money. Nothing to do with her making money at all. Of course not. One Off is a global fashion marketplace. It allows participants like Meghan to share their looks and properly credit the designers. It also enables fans of the looks to purchase the items themselves. I mean, Jobber, have you ever, firstly, seen more propaganda than that? I mean, I'm sorry, I'm embarrassed for the Australian Women's Weekly publishing that. Secondly, if she really wanted to launch herself in the fashion world, Jobbo, that interview should be appearing in Vogue. It's appearing in the Australian Women's Weekly. Like, the whole fashion thing isn't going to work. But what did you make of that being her only interview from Australia?
I think that the editor of the Australian Weekly, I'm sure, is a nice person. Really ought to take a good long look at herself or himself, because that's not editing. That's just releasing press releases and allowing people to trade off your circulation and readership.
I know. That's what I thought.
But also, for her status, let's be honest, it's not even UK Vogue. It's not tap. This is women's. This is Australian Women's Week. It's just not where you do it. So it just shows you just how far she's come down. This is a woman that with her husband wants to monetize the royal family. This is why they're where they are, because they didn't want to play the game as it should be played. They wanted to do it their own way, and they wanted to make cheap bucks along the way. Well, that's what they're doing, and this is where they've come to. I personally think it's a real letdown for the king and for everyone else. I mean, look, Kate, when she goes to Australia, she wears clothes by local designers, but she doesn't. She's not getting people to buy them, so she gets the money in the bank. She's promoting local business.
100%. And I think you're right, Jobber. It is like all of this stuff from Australia just seems to show how much her stock has fallen, because the other thing that was released this week was an interview that she did with 2 Australian influencers, and they're sweet kids, right? They're Down syndrome boys, and it was a nice moment, but she's not very good at acting because they gave her some... I need you to do something for me right now. It is free, it is easy, it is simple. Just hit that subscribe button on YouTube. That's because over 50% of you watching this video haven't done that yet. And it is the best way. No big tech backing, no billionaires pulling the strings. And if you turn on the bell, you'll get alerted to all our new videos. Australian beer, which I'm sure you're quite fond of, Jobbo, but she couldn't actually hide.
No, I don't drink.
No, never. Totally teetotal. And she couldn't disguise her disgust. Watch this.
Also very good. This is a little bit lighter. Also very good. This is a little bit lighter.
And it's like, for someone who's meant to be an actress, Joe, it's just like, come on, just give it up. Just be yourself. You know?
She didn't like it. She wanted to spit it out. She didn't like that,
I learned it was warm. She didn't like it. Jobber, I've also got to talk about this speech of Prince Harry's, which has been going
Yeah,
viral this week. And
yeah.
it's interesting because it's actually not a new speech, but it has resulted in this sort of anti-establishment comedians in America coming together and really hammering this guy. So Defiant L's first posted, Prince Harry wants you to know that climate change is a serious and real issue. And this was the segment of the speech that they posted from the United Nations.
Of us feel battered, helpless in the face of the seemingly endless stream of disasters and devastation. I understand. This has been a painful year in a painful decade. We're living through a pandemic that continues to ravage communities in every corner of the globe. Climate change wreaking havoc on our planet, with the most vulnerable suffering most of all. The few weaponizing lies and disinformation at the expense of the many. And from the horrific war in Ukraine to the rolling back of constitutional rights here in the United States, we are witnessing a global assault on democracy and freedom.
Now, Adam Carolla, Jobbo, just posted after that speech went viral, he's such a pussy. But then Rob Schneider went back to this old rumor, and I wanted to ask you about it, Jobbo. Prince Harry is an embarrassment to Princess Diana and to Captain Hewitt. And it is the rumor, Jobbo, that just never goes away, because when you compare Harry to Hewitt, they look very familiar. Now, look, you're obviously the most...
Do me a favour then. Get some of your researchers at this moment in time to do exactly what you're doing there with pictures of a young Prince Philip, and we'll come back to that.
I need you to do something for me right now. It is free. It is easy. It is simple. Just hit that subscribe button on YouTube. That's because over 50% of you watching this video haven't done that yet. And it is the best way. No big tech backing, no billionaires pulling the strings. And if you turn on the bell, you'll get alerted to all our new videos.
All I would say, and that's quite important because the line is down the father's side. And also, we can't dig out pictures of the Red Earl, but the Red Earl was Princess Diana's grandfather. So I'll answer it in the way I think. But the statement, is he an embarrassment to Diana and Hewitt? Well, Hewitt was a major in the British Army, so I think he probably would be an embarrassment, although he served fairly well. And Diana, I think Diana would forgive him most things, actually, because she was his little favourite, I think. Look, the rumor you're getting at is Charles, the father of Harry. He absolutely is. I know that that Diana said this to Ken, my friend, and I believe he said it. She said, I don't know how he did do it, because Charles and Diana used to have, even through the bad days, would have sex on every 3 weeks, like an automaton, apparently. That's what she would later say. And that they did. She said, I don't know how we did do it, but Harry's absolutely is Charles's son.
And look, there's the Prince Philip picture. We've got that actually, and you can see the comparison there.
And the most important thing is that they hadn't met when Harry was born. So unless this was a miraculous birth, I would say that it's impossible for James Hewitt to be the father of Prince Harry. And I have no doubt whatsoever, 100%, that he is the son of Charles. Now, that picture does look uncanny. They look very similar. But have a look, go through some more pictures of Philip and Harry, and you'll see, particularly when they're in uniform, whatever, you'll see there is a clear and total link between the two. And the red hair comes from the Spencer side. Sarah McCorkadale was redheaded, and the Red Earl was the Queen's grandfather. I wasn't there when he was conceived. But...
And I mean, look, you are right. When you compare Prince Philip, a young Prince Philip, to Prince Harry, you can absolutely see that resemblance. How much does it impact Harry, this sort of going viral in America, him being humiliated, people poking fun, because we know how sensitive he is on these matters?
This is the guy that wanted out of the royal family, okay? He's the guy that, well, he wanted semi in and out, and the Queen categorically told him, you're either in or you're out, and he chose out. He went on, famously called it the freedom flight. Okay, that's your decision. You'll always be a loved member of our family, but you're no longer a working royal. That's it, you're out. Don't trade on the name, and don't try to monetize the name. That was the clear message from Her late Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. A message that he seems to have reneged on already, and in a bad way, in a way that's probably damaging the current king's health, because he's torn between the love of a son and knowing that he's being taken the piss out of by his own son. The fact that, would anybody have listened, anybody at all, to an army captain about what his views are on democracy? An army captain that got 1 A-level, I think, wasn't it, in art? I don't think so. I don't really think that he's the sharpest tool in the shed. I don't really think I want to be lectured to him about the constitutional democracy of America. I can name many, many more presidents, I'm sure, than he can. I mean, I'm actually a massive reading the biography at the moment about John Adams, and his letters that he wrote to Abigail Adams, I'm sure, were amongst the most incredible relationship that's ever been known between a man and a woman. He probably doesn't even know who Abigail Adams is. So all I would say to Harry is, you want it out, stay out, enjoy Montecito. I'm told Charlie Chaplin and Una O'Neill used to often go up to the local Montecito Inn. Why don't you just learn a bit about where you're living and enjoy yourself? Stop lecturing me and everybody else about things you barely know anything about.
But Jobber, you have just raised such an important point, and it is about the impact of the ongoing stress that Prince Harry is putting his father through. And this is so significant, Jobber, and I think it's too often overlooked, because a lot of people try and say, oh, the British public will forgive Prince Harry, and one day, once he's left Meghan Markle, he'll be back in the fold. Jobber, I'll never forgive him, because it's not just Charles. I mean, I feel hugely sympathetic to Charles given his current cancer battle, but it's Catherine when she was going through her cancer. And I will never forget what he did during Prince Philip's and the late Queen Elizabeth II's dying days. So the fact that he learned nothing from that, and he is now doing the same thing to his father. After that visit, Jobbo, do you remember Harry came out and said, oh, it's all about my dad now? And actually, it's like not, because he doesn't seem to give a damn how much pressure and stress he puts Charles through.
He probably doesn't realise that he's doing it, but the king is an incredibly kind person. I think probably too kind for his own good. But he is surrounded by, now does have Camilla, who is, I think Diana described as a Rottweiler. Well, at this moment in time, the king needs a Rottweiler. And
big time.
Good on her.
Big time.
Good on her. And I don't think his brother will ever forgive him anything after what happened to Catherine. And the nonsense about the fight, the big fight. Well, they may have had a scuffle, for goodness sake, how many times have you... I mean, I've got 2 brothers and a sister, and I've had many a scuffle with my brothers, never with my sister. But what on earth is that all about? That was such a weird thing to write in a book. But the king does have the Prince of Wales, and he does have the Queen Consort, and that will protect him to a degree. But, he's probably slightly broken-hearted. He can't see his grandchildren, Archie and Lilibet, and the whole business of calling her Lilibet was quite upsetting for the late Queen. All I would say is that, Harry, you should wake up and smell the roses, because you're not the only person to become a father. You're not the only person to become a husband. And the way you speak about lecturing people about being a dad, it's easier. I can tell you one thing, Harry, if you're listening, and I suggest you start listening to people like Dan and myself, is that it's a lot easier to be a dad when you haven't got to worry about paying the bills. Because when you're a dad, you can talk to all the, and you've got to get up at 5 a.m. to go to a building site, then come home and then it's 8 o'clock at night, and your wife's moaning at you, and you've got 2 little kids. It's a lot harder, mate, than if you've got 20 million in the bank, and you want to whisper, things into the womb, or whatever bullshit he was talking about the other day. The bottom line is, most men and women, now I know we live in a world where both men and women go to work, if you haven't got to worry about the money, you don't really have to worry about, you can come out with all this absolute woke bollocks, frankly, about what it's like to be a dad. Unless being a dad means you've got to go out and earn money to put a roof over your wife and children's head over there.
I need you to do something for me right now. It is free. It is easy. It is simple. Just hit that subscribe button on YouTube. That's because over 50% of you watching this video haven't done that yet. And it is the best way. No big tech backing, no billionaires pulling the strings. And if you turn on the bell, you'll get alerted to all our new videos.
Over their heads, and that goes for mums too, working mums, single mums. You know, that's when you have to have a worry. This guy hasn't got a worry in the world. He lives in a mansion in Montecito. I'm out in LA, as I said. I might go give him a visit and tell him what a few home truths on behalf of myself and other working men.
Oh my God,
and
I would
on behalf
love
of
it.
the king.
I
And
would
I think
love
that
it.
really this man needs to stop gazing at his navel because he's got sod all else to do, and actually start thinking that I've lost both my parents. I lost my dad 30 years ago nearly, and I miss him every day. I lost my mum 2 years ago, and actually I was on a royal tour when I would start a royal tour in Australia when she passed away, which was heartbreaking. He wants to realise how lucky he is his father's alive and start behaving like a man instead of a wimp. And that's what he's.
But the thing is, Jobber, you know, one day it's going to be too late, and he's going to regret it.
It's already
just
too
like,
late.
Yeah,
it's already too late because he's broken the king's heart.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. Really, really is. Now, Jobbo, you have joined this independent media revolution. And I'm loving it, actually, Jobbo, because, I mean, we have a long history, don't we? Because we worked together at News of the World when we were part of the Murdoch fold, and you were the royal editor there. And you have long been known as one of Britain's foremost royal reporters, really the correspondent who is closest to King Charles. You broke the news.
I'm not sure that's true anymore, that last bit. I think that Hardman has sort of got closer. I think he's been advised by Toby and Andre and
it's Robert
Camilla
Hardman who writes for the Mail.
Bob's a good guy. His latest book's an excellent book, excellent read, and I think he's probably closer to the king now. But for a period of time, I think the king and I had a working relationship, and I think he understood and he liked the Standard, and we had a good working relationship. I think Bob Hardman's probably closest now out of all of them. The correspondent, I'm not sure many of them are that close to anymore. He's as king. My relationship was with the Prince of Wales really, but the king is now being guarded by his Praetorian Guard, and I think that Hardman is seen as the acceptable face, whereas I probably am a little too blunt, a little too common, and a little too Essex for their liking. Educated enough, but probably a little not Etonian.
Well, you're unleashed now on your Substack, which is what I'm loving. Is it freeing for you, Jobbo, to be able to report directly what you think, say exactly what you think directly to your readership now, without an editor sometimes getting in the way?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I'm conscious of the legality side of things, and I try to make sure that I'm not saying anything that's illegal. But I am finding it really refreshing. I'm finding the writing enjoyable. I mean, I wrote about that hilarious stuff about Mr. Mischief and the Mr. Mischief and the Snuggles, you know. And I did a piece on that, which actually I felt was quite. I had to tiptoe through the tulips legally, but I made sure I covered it. I'm enjoying it, and I think that what I really am pleased about is that I've gone to about 2,500 subscribers. I've got 52 paid subscribers, and so far I've earned over $5,000. I thank them every day because it's keeping the Substack going. My son jokes, he's my son who's done this thing called houseofthepeople.com that's gone mental, actually.
Yes,
and he's making a fortune. He mocks me about my Substack because he says, Dad, don't worry, you don't have to worry about when you're old, Dad. I'll look after you. And I go, no, I'm fine, thanks so much. So he goes, how's your little Substack going on? Because he's made like a fortune doing this houseofthepeople.com with his friend. And it is slightly annoying because I've been doing Twitter for 15 to 16 years or something, appearing on TV shows all over the place. And then he starts House of the People up. He's now on nearly 70,000 in less than 3 months. And
that's Gen Z for you, right?
Just carry on. So it's quite upsetting, but not in another way. It's refreshing because I'm thinking that he might be earning his own money now, and he can bugger off. But the fact is, I think Substack is refreshing, and I think that newspapers are a little bit like CDs. Actually,
yeah.
I think they're going to become redundant, and I think that I hope they don't, because I love seeing my work in print. But you know, books are different, and you should write some books, Dan. I really think you should. I think that newspapers, it'll be sad when they've gone, but I think they will go eventually, and therefore it's up to people like you and me to be pioneers of this. And I know you're streets ahead of it than me, but I'm enjoying it.
I'm so delighted you're on Substack. And actually, what we're going to do is we're going to put your QR code up on screen, because some people like to scan the QR code, or you can just search for Robert Jobson on Substack, and I recommend, Jobbers, you can come to it via my Substack too, which is www.outspoken.live. But I think the point you make is very interesting, Jobber, because of course every now and then a newspaper still gets a big scoop, and we celebrate that and we support that. But more and more these days, Jobber, I am looking at what I have reported here on Outspoken, or what another brilliant independent journalist in this space has reported, and then I'm seeing it. I don't read the physical newspapers anymore, Jobber. I know you're going to be horrified by that. I just every now and then check it on the website.
I like to, but I don't read them as much as I should.
No, it's just done.
Really,
but I'll see them on a website, and I'm like, oh God, we did that story 3 days ago, and you're only getting onto it now.
But why don't they learn the most important thing about this? If anyone, I'm more than happy for people to lift my photographs from my Substack, but they must credit Jobson Media Limited or Robert Jobson. And I think that,
and I always credit.
And I think that, Dan, when you broke that story, you should have been credited by Dan Wootton.
Oh no, they don't.
Think that's wrong.
They don't. They will not credit Dan Wootton Outspoken, especially not the Sun, especially not the Mail. I mean, I don't care as an ego thing, but my thing is I always credit. Like, I love a whole load of the brilliant citizen journalists on X who do amazing work, really digging into especially what Harry and Meghan are doing. And I always call those people out, from Harry, Meghan's Spare to Meghan's Mold. Look, there's a whole load of them because they're an important part of the community and things are changing. And this idea now that, oh, it has to come from the Royal Rota for us to believe it, well, those days are over. So I think what's very clever with what you're doing is you're straddling both.
Do you believe everything that's from the Royal Rota?
No.
Because I don't.
Of course I don't.
I mean, I'm on the Royal Rota, clean on, whilst the Standard is still alive. I'm sure they'd all want me gone. I'm told from a very good friend of mine, I've known for many years, that they really would like me. You know, isn't it time he basically, you know, fell off the wall? I mean, I felt like it on this trip to the White House. I went to the White House, like my back was killing me. I'm not as fit as I should be. And I said to the Secret Service,
I need you to do something for me right now. It is free. It is easy. It is simple. Just hit that subscribe button on YouTube. That's because over 50% of you watching this video haven't done that yet. And it is the best way. No big tech backing, no billionaires pulling the strings. And if you turn on the bell, you'll get alerted to all our new videos.
I've got to sit on the step of the White House. And he said, you can't, so it's a restricted area. I said, look, what do you want me to do? Keel over? And they said, and eventually this woman came and said, yeah, you can go and sit. So whilst the king had flown away anyway, and the president was on his way into the Oval Office. So I went and sat on the police step of the White House where they just come out.
Be careful, you don't want them to shoot you by accident. But no, I'm loving it, Jobbo. I'm loving it. And what I particularly love about your Substack is I just get it immediately into my inbox. So when you were doing that great reporting from Washington, D.C., what I love about Substack is you don't even have to necessarily go out and search it, because you can choose and you just get the alert straight in. So I love it. We've got that QR code up on screen. Come on. Join Jobbo's growing Substack, but we always love having you on Outspoken. That is